Previously on Starting Over, Cassie tried making peace with giving up her son for adoption by creating a quilt representing the pros and cons of her choices.
I want you to write down a loss, and then I want you to tell me what you gained. I want you to give yourself credit for the pros.
Kim had a hard time responding to the first letter she had received from her sister in 5 years.
She wants an apology from me.
That's old behavior. That's old behavior. Ask her what she wants an apology for.
Both pride and anger have been major obstacles in Kim's ability to mend her relationship with her sister. She's got to get over that.
And Sommer's comments about not wanting to date African-American men created enormous tension between Towanda and Sommer.
If Sommer really felt this way, then I should have been the person that she should have come to.
Were you offended?
Hello, I'm a black woman. I see the racial undertones constantly in my life. Had it up to here. I'm tired of it.
This whole issue about the race piece that came up. Walk me through what happened.
Okay.
Let's go. What happened? Where the date.
Okay.
And the housemates had to interview the three gentlemen for the date. And there was an African-American male. So we're right there.
Okay.
What happened?
Everyone in the house really liked, his name is Howard.
If you love this woman or if you love this person, you take her hands. And how much conflict can we have if you're holding my hand? All I want to do is, I care for you, just give me your hand, let's sit and talk about it. So we have to talk, we have to communicate.
Jennifer makes a statement, and the
What
way
was the statement?
that she says, trust me. You know, Sommer and I have had a conversation, just trust me.
I can't repeat what she said. She'll have to tell you.
But you think Chris? Okay.
Really? It's
It's not the age thing. That's something else. Okay.
Oh, okay. They didn't get it, but I did.
Okay.
And then I said, oh, okay. That Howard, she doesn't want Howard. And, you know, being experienced in that, you know,
Tell me what that
of
is.
dealing with, for me, hidden innuendos, I could pick them up quickly, especially when it's racial. Because for me, it was like, okay, you all are having secret conversations in the car, and if Sommer really felt this way, then I should have been the person that she should have come to say, hey, Towanda, you know, I just wanted to let you know, blah, blah, blah.
Why should you have been the person?
Because she came to me before with her, her personal trainer.
I have to know your best and worst state for my assignment.
minutes.
Apparently they've discovered I'm good at flirting, not dating.
So she came to me and she was like, Towanda, he's so cute, you know, I have a crush on him, yada yada, you know, I would really like to date him. So I'm like, okay, you know, and then she really doesn't have a preference.
I would like to say, though, real quick, that I don't know what kind of guys y'all are picking, but let me assure you that Marcus is a special case as far as African Americans go. Because more often than not, I'm not attracted to them.
Wait a minute, after she shared with me about Marcus, so
Were you offended?
I was.
Why?
I
Why
was
were you
offended because I felt that it was secret conversations.
So in the overall context, Towanda, have you experienced racism here in the house?
That day is when I've experienced it. Prior to that day, I never experienced it in the house.
Do you think Sommer has a right, any woman has a right to say who she wants to date?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Sommer said she did not want to date an African American, even though she had a crush on Marcus. She didn't want to date an African. And your response to that is?
It's safe to tell me that you have a crush on an African-American guy. It's safe to tell me that, but it's not safe for you to date. And when all that was going on, it was very confusing and disturbing because it made me feel as if, okay, if you're doing that about that, what else are you whispering about?
I want to have a larger conversation around the race issue in the house. I've asked Dr. Stan and Rhonda to join me. But I also want you to have a group with the women.
Okay.
Without us.
Okay.
To speak from your perspective as a woman of color.
Usually, people don't discuss race. They camouflage it, hide it under the table. But at the Starting Over House, we are going to deal with the issue of racism head on.
This is very important for me.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Of you.
Kim has called me to meet with her to talk about sisters. Kim and I are both the older sister. We both assumed a lot of responsibility early on in our childhood, and I think that has affected both of us later in life.
Where are we going?
We are going to go up to actually Griffith Park and just
cool.
For a little picnic.
Well, come on in, and
okay.
I'll put this down, and we have a new roommate.
Oh, hi. Good morning.
This
I'm
is Amy.
I'm Cassie. Very nice to meet you. And where are you from, Cassie?
Alabama.
Alabama. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I
So
lived
you're
in...
used to the heat?
Yeah, very
Not
used
a problem.
to it. No.
And what's your goal when you're here?
I'm here to go back and get my GED and reconnect
great.
with the child I gave up for adoption.
That's tough. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. See you, Joe. See you guys.
Bye, Josie. Bye, Chloe.
Bye, Chloe.
Say bye-bye.
See you later.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Good. Do you have your pieces?
Yes, I do.
Well, come on. Let's meet outside.
To help Cassie define her expectations about reconnecting with the son she gave up for adoption 18 years ago, I've asked her to create a quilt of losses and gains. The white patches represent the benefits of giving up her son for adoption, while the blue patches represent the loss.
So tell me what you created.
I created a purple heart.
Wow. So this is a purple heart because of the courage up there, or
Yeah.
just because you used purple and...
Because of courage, and I tried to make it in the shape of a heart, but it didn't really work out that way.
Great. Okay, so tell me, let's start up on, where would you like to start? The blue and white.
Okay, so I lost the right of motherhood, and the gain was not having to schedule my life around someone else. The loss was graduations, and the gain was not having to listen to someone tell me how terrible I am.
You did that yourself.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Secrets I gained because I never even told anyone that I did this until a couple of years ago. And so that was just something I put behind me, and I just carried it with me. And through it all, I lost and I gained courage. I lost courage because I wasn't courageous enough to keep him and try to build a healthy life for him. But I gained courage because everything I went through up until this point, I feel like I have courage enough to admit all of this and to move forward and try to find him.
If I feel that I have been betrayed or hurt or someone has disappointed me, I usually don't participate in a relationship with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Before, I wouldn't even talk to you.
But I wasn't purposely trying to hurt you.
It don't
or
matter. It
disappoint
doesn't
you.
matter.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Is that
Like,
why you're able to do it? Is because you know that I wasn't trying to do that?
If anything ever occurred like this before I came here, I would have held a grudge. And I would have not have spoken to Sommer ever again.
Personal or not, I would hold it.
So I just want to put the topic, play the card.
I'm looking at all of my housemates and actually seeing the distress on their faces.
Well, this is nice. We're going to a little park, huh?
Well, today is Kim's birthday, and it's a tough one for her. She has had a lot of problems with her relationships recently, and she's really optimistic, but it's a really tough time for her, and I really see her really trying to get over the hump.
Me and Jennifer and T have all had rifts with our sister. Mine is worse than any of them because I haven't spoke to my sister in 5 years. She hasn't spoke to me. We haven't seen each
You're
other. Haven't
kidding.
spoke.
What
No.
happened?
She blames me for our bad childhood, basically. That's it in a nutshell.
You feel bitter?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, she's blamed me, and so...
And unjustly.
Yes, exactly.
Amy and I are both the oldest children, and she really understands where I'm coming from as far as being the person who is always caretaking and doing.
It really is hard, and I think
You
that
lose your childhood.
You do, and you just and you start to taking on responsibilities that nobody's really asked you to do, but you're just going to do them anyway, and then you just become this like uber like competent person at like 14. You know what I mean? And like and
you don't get to do the cheerleading and the sports and the this and the. I mean, I didn't get to do any of that.
Yep.
So anyway, everybody wrote a note, and all I could muster is, "Are you open to a line of communication?" I mean, that's all I could do.
I know that my relationship with my sister is one of the most important things in my life, and I'd really be lost without having her. And so I really, really hope that Kim and her sister are able to come together and move beyond. So you wrote her once the sort of like, "Are you open to communication?" Then
And
she wrote
me
and
back
said yes.
a long letter, and she didn't say yes.
Was she bitter?
She still blamed. Yeah. And Iyanla and I spent 2 hours going over
what she wrote you?
Yes. And then I responded, and now we have not heard yet.
And what do you want to happen?
Well, I hope that she responds and that we can just have a relationship that is more honest and open, basing it on the past is over, so we can start fresh, a clean slate, a new beginning. The past is over.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell me how Josie, in your conversation with her, supported you.
I thought she was going to slam me. That she was going to slam me because she kept her child and she had courage enough to do that. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, she's going to tell me everything that I did wrong. And she got strength enough to do it. But when I'm sitting there, there was so much guilt and shame. And Josie brought it out in me. And she helped me release it.
How did she do that? What did she give you?
She said, "You are a birth mother. You are a mother. And nobody can take that away from you." Because I never felt that I had that right to even say that.
Isn't it amazing, the power of compassion?
Yes.
And it's amazing when we feel accepted, what we're able to release.
Yes.
I'm going to give you your next part of the assignment.
Oh, no. More material.
Yes. You're not done yet. So you can cut up the yellow any way you see fit.
Okay.
Any way that supports you.
Okay.
And on the yellow, what I want you to write down, just as you did here, you wrote down the gains and losses. Now I want you to write down, what do you expect from your son? And I want you to continue to be honest with yourself more and more and more and more. So when things come up for you, I want you to get them down on a blue and white square. Your expectations down.
Okay.
And I'm really glad your first 48 hours in the Starting Over house have been so fruitful.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Did you need to graduate then? You need to
No.
graduate?
No. Thank you.
Maybe not. Anything else?
Time is it?
2:20.
2:20.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Okay.
Because we won't have group for
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's going to be long today.
Group.
Tell her. You can tell her.
What do we have to talk about, T? We have to
Don't
talk
tell
about
anybody.
racism again?
Yes.
This isn't something that everyone is comfortable with speaking about.
I think I'm sick and have to miss group today.
Oh, are we doing that again?
Yeah.
I think it's for me.
Did I hear a response to my knocking?
Hi.
Kim and I are meeting today because it's time for her to take the next step, to spread her wings, to stand on her own. And I don't think she's going to be too happy about it.
So, have we heard from your sister?
No.
Well, it might take a minute. Remember?
Yeah.
It might take a minute.
I did get a birthday card from her, but it was sent, before I even mailed that.
Okay.
And it was...
Wait a minute. Hold up. Put a plug right there.
Okay.
You got a birthday card from your sister.
Yes.
For the first time in how long?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't get it. Kim is acting like it's not a big deal that her sister has sent her a birthday card for the first time in 5 years. Maybe she doesn't think it is, but I think it's a miracle.
And she said that she had went swimming and played tennis with my girls. Remember the picture and the intention.
Right.
And she said, we had a really good time, and my daughters miss me.
Okay.
So it was good. If she has done this much, with the little bit that I have done with your support, I really am expecting a response.
But it doesn't matter what she does. Look at all we've done. So my question is, now that we've done the work, what are you going to do? What's your plan? What's next?
I was waiting to hear from her.
You can't live your life waiting to see what somebody else is going to do.
Maybe send something to the nieces.
Something like what?
A card or a note or...
What would be your intention in doing that?
Just leave my sister out of it and try to reach out to them as an aunt instead of...
What's another way you could handle that, though?
Call them.
Good idea. Would it be call them or call her? What is your resistance to calling your sister?
I'm scared.
You've been scared before. You've been blindfolded in the wilderness. This is all this is. You're putting a blindfold on in the wilderness. But what happened when you did that, Kim? When you put the blindfold on in the wilderness, what happened?
I got through it.
Yeah. What I want Kim to understand is no matter how afraid she is or how difficult it may look, sound, or feel, she really is ready to spread her wings and fly.
What is the worst thing that could happen?
Well, she'd start screaming. It would ruin everything.
Well, how would it ruin everything? How would it ruin it if she started screaming?
Or cussing me out or
and
whatever.
And if she started cussing at you, what would you respond?
Hang up on her.
Can you make another choice? You called your sister with a clear intention to thank her for the card, to respond to her inquiry as a means of opening the line of communication, to mending the relationship. That's your intention. And if in the process, the shock of hearing your voice sends her into some mental meltdown and she should proceed to call you vicious, nasty names and scream and holler at you on the phone, you will do what?
Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, and no matter what she says, your response would be?
The past is over.
So when are you going to call her?
I don't know.
I do. Would you like to know what I know?
No, I don't want to know when you know.
Yeah, I do.
What?
I know when you're going to call her.
When?
How about by 8 o'clock this evening?
Oh, Iyanla, come on.
What? Where are we going?
See, I always know. Well, you're just so calm, and then you just drop a bomb. Yeah, it's like, but you finally think you can take a deep breath.
So would you like me to be frantic and then drop the bomb? Tell me, I can do that now. Oh, Kim, this is horrible. Kim, this is so terrible. I don't know how you're going to do this. It's just absolutely horrible. But Kim, you got to call your sister today by 8 o'clock. Oh, I mean, because I can do
hilarious, Iyanla.
The assignment is to get the number from your mom and call your sister. I would also encourage you that before you do that, write a clear intention. Write the intention. Write it down. And be willing to be wrong.
some of the awful truths I'm dealing with is what I had to do when I was trying to decide whether to go the adoption route of giving up my son Dustin or keeping him, and having to face the fact that I'm an alcoholic and I couldn't care for a child. All I was empty.
Group today is about racism, and I'm definitely going into group feeling like I'm about to get attacked.
I really don't feel like talking about racism again, but I guess we have to do it.
Hi, ladies. How you living? Living good?
Yes.
Hi. Wow, I feel like it's a reunion.
I'm actually looking at all of my housemates and seeing the distress look on their faces, like, oh God, here we go again.
So we have a very important, delicate, sensitive topic we want to talk today. So I just want to put the topic, play the card.
I'm afraid of her reaction. I will be rejected. It's just that simple.
Race is not just black or white, it's red, it's brown, it's yellow, but there are underlying issues. There are some subjects that are difficult to talk about, and therefore they go unaddressed. Well, today in the Starting Over House, we're speaking about a very difficult subject, the subject of race.
We're interested in if you feel you're prejudiced, if you feel you're racist.
Prejudice is defined as a preformed opinion, usually a negative one, based on insufficient knowledge, irrational feelings, and inaccurate stereotypes. Racism is defined as the belief that people of different races have different qualities and abilities, and that some races are inherently superior or inferior.
So what I would ask everybody, and we'll start with you, Miss Josie, to go around the room and ask, are you racist?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you feel that you don't discriminate based on color or religion?
Wait. No, religion, nothing.
Culture?
None of that. No.
Kim?
Kim?
I am definitely not a racist. I have been judgmental.
Towanda?
No, I'm not a racist, and I'm not prejudiced.
You don't find yourself thinking about the differences between white and black and brown?
Oh, there are obvious difference between the two, but that doesn't mean that I'm prejudiced.
I think most people are afraid to admit that they have a racist bone in their body for fear of being judged. And I think sometimes they confuse it with extreme racism, and they don't recognize the subtleties which also contribute to prejudice and racism.
No, I'm not prejudiced or racist. I think, and it's not a black or white issue, it's everybody issue. And the way I feel is that we're all souls, just wearing different masks.
No, I'm not racist or prejudiced.
Not a bone in your body.
I definitely stereotype, without a doubt. And I think I was afraid that there was a part of me that was a lot more prejudiced than I believe I am now. I just feel like I'm the only one who's honestly taking a look at myself. And maybe that's because I've been dealing with this issue for the last few days. I know I want somebody that takes care of themselves the way I take care of myself. So before I thought, and that's part of why it was really, the whole thing was just really upsetting to me, but because I was thinking, well, I'm cool if it's friends, but when it comes to my relationship, I've tried to date, I've definitely dated Hispanics, I've definitely dated African Americans, but it never seems to work, and I don't know that I want to go there again. Like, that's because I feel like I have had bad experiences. I think when it comes to dating, that's the time when I get...
So that's when all your stereotypes, your prejudice, your racism comes up because you're in a vulnerable situation.
Without a doubt, I stereotype people. I don't necessarily act on those stereotypes, but it is the first thing that pops into my mind a lot of the time. And that is a form of prejudice.
Yeah, and Sommer, one of the things you're saying is that you realize now there's certain traits you don't like in all kinds of people, and that's really the issue. But I think on a deeper level, you know, 4 out of 6 of you said basically you're not prejudiced, you're not racist at all. You were courageous enough to say you stereotype, and Kim, you said you suffered to some degree to this. I think we are all prejudiced. And I think we're all racist at times. And I think it's in a form of subtlety and also in a reverse racism.
The truth is that it's very hard, embarrassing, almost shameful to admit to our own individual racist thoughts, racist feelings, and racist experiences.
The thing about the race part of it is that the messages are subtle. And because it is such a nasty, nasty thing, people don't like to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So even when they consciously or unconsciously do something that is racist, experienced as racist, considered as racist, and the person who has the experience raises it with them, they'll say, oh no, not me, I'm not racist.
The subtle forms of racism.
Subtle forms.
Where, can I sit next to Iyanla and forget she's black? Can I do that?
Or whenever Iyanla does something or says something that upsets me, it is not attributed to Iyanla, it's attributed to the fact that Iyanla's black. So, let's take a look at what have your experiences been, Kim, and everyone else? Where we have been discriminated against or felt some subtle under the...
Right here.
Okay.
She's rich, and so they've judged me.
Immediately.
Right. Immediately.
They who?
The people in this house.
Stereotyped.
Yes, right, the second I walked in the door.
Tell me how you experienced it.
You know, they don't know the real me. That, you know, and that I'm materialistic. Because I'm rich, you're materialistic. And that's a judgment. That's a stereotype. To me, that's a prejudice. You know, and I felt like I had to defend myself. I'm not, you know, materialistic. I give to people. I'm still defending myself to this very day. I've been defending it since the day I've walked in here.
But Kim, everybody doesn't have to know you're wealthy. There's something you do say, present, that says you're wealthy. There's no way.
Well, no, I mean materialistic.
But
that's true.
How do they know that? If you had on a white blouse and a pair of jeans, I had on a white blouse and a pair of jeans.
Right, you couldn't tell.
could be dirt poor, but I'm black.
Right. I agree with that.
There's a difference between things we can change about ourselves.
Right, right.
Whether we be blonde, because sometimes we can change our hair color. Right. But we are stuck being certain things.
Right.
And I'm interested, have you ever experienced real racism?
What have you experienced? What has your experience been?
The most popular one is when I go shopping. I was obviously the only person in the store at the time. No one asked me, can I help you? A few minutes later, I'll say about 5 or 10 minutes later, a Caucasian woman walked into the store. Immediately, oh, is there something you need? Are you looking for something? Excuse me, I need some assistance. Nobody would help me. It was almost as if my money wasn't good enough in that store and maybe I was just browsing around to steal, or...
You didn't have money is what the assumption was.
Of course.
I was raised in a very racist house. My grandmother is somewhat racist. She doesn't believe in interracial marriages, interracial relationships, which I happened to be in one when I was in high school.
How did that affect your relationship with your grandparents?
There's not many people who are of mixed backgrounds and have different ethnicities in their culture, so she feels like it's very hard for them to be accepted in society.
Well, let me ask a question, because that's coming from your perspective, your grandmother's perspective as a white woman. Towanda, as a woman of African descent, what have you heard about mixed people who are of mixed race?
That they're black?
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, when I was younger, and I was very naive because I was brought up in a white school with mostly kids of my religion, where we had actually one black student, a celebrity's child. I never really heard much anti-Semitism. I never heard much racism. And then I went somewhere to rent a hotel room with a friend of mine, and I said, we're just poor students, can we get a better rate? And she looked at me and said, don't Jew me down. I had never heard that. And all of a sudden I thought, whoa, what does that mean? I mean, I understand what it means, but what does that mean?
I want to go back to a statement that Dr. Martin Luther King offered us all, which is his dream of the day when people would be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. We're not there, people. And one of the reasons we are not there is because people won't take the time, have the courage to say, okay, yeah, I am racist, and this is what I do, and this is how I do it. And I want to just introduce you to probably the essence of racial purity. Look what she did to the race card.
Ripped it up.
She ate it. And I don't know what it is that she has here, what it is that hasn't happened to her. She doesn't know yet. This is what we've all got to strive for, to just be where Miss Chloe is, just to be accepting and loving and available. And if anything shows up that has some little negative connotation, we have to eat it.
I am very happy, extremely happy, that we faced it and we're dealing with it.
What are you doing? Oh, you're never gonna believe this if I told you.
What?
I have to call Kelly.
Iyanla has given me the assignment to call my sister. I am really nervous about this. I am scared to death. This is one of the hardest things that I think I've ever had to do.
Right now? Before 8 o'clock, yeah. Can I talk to Dave?
Yeah, hold on. Hi, honey.
Hi.
So you have to make the big call, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Well,
I do not want to do it at all.
I would not have guessed this in a million years. This is completely different than what I would have guessed. So,
Yeah.
what is it?
It's a blanket of love.
It's a blanket of love.
Yeah.
I'm following up with Cassie to see what does she expect from her relationship with her son. I want to see how honest Cassie's going to be.
This is like a pattern of my life, of all my gains and all my losses, of the decision I made to give up Dustin, my son, for adoption. Then I have my expectations, what I truly, if and when I do meet Dustin, I have something to look forward to.
Why don't you read some of these to me?
His life moments, learning about his life moments, and smiles, that I'll be able to see his smile, growth, that maybe he can see where I was and the growth in me today, and then honor, which is my life goal.
Honor what?
Him.
What if your son says, Mom, you're not my mom, and I don't ever want to see you again? Would you be able to honor that?
Yes. I want him to know he was adopted, and I want him to know of me. If he chooses not to know me, at least, you know, I will honor that.
I gotta tell you, I have a hard time believing that.
Really?
Just because if I'm gonna take years, because you've taken years to prepare for this moment, to say, I'm ready to reconnect with my son. This isn't just the first time you thought of it.
No.
How many times have you
Oh,
thought of
Lord.
reconnecting with your son? How many times have you wished upon a star that he'd walk through the door, or the adoptive mother would call you up and go, he wants to meet you? I mean, how many times? 100, 3,000, 800, what? How many times have you wished that you could reconnect with your son?
Every day since I've given him up for adoption.
Every day since you've given him up. I love these hopes and wishes and wants. But what isn't on here? What expectations aren't on here?
That he could reject me.
Yes.
Cassie needs to define her expectations. I think she's thinking that he'll love her and it'll be all rosy and that he'll have open arms to her. But what if he doesn't?
Could he call you a liar?
Yeah.
Could he call you worse?
Yeah, he could call me a drunk.
I love this. But when you tell me that you want love and joy and care and happiness and time and knowledge and compassion and hugs and truth and soul and sharing and smiles and growth, you want all this, I think it would take a lot of work to get to the point to really be okay with him not wanting a relationship with you. If these are your hopes and wishes, really. So tell me what you think. Why am I asking you about this, or?
Because you want me to be prepared when, if it all comes crashing down, and he doesn't want a relationship with me.
And even before that, I don't want the crash to happen.
The fear that I have of making the phone call to my sister is that I will be rejected. It's just that simple. I don't know why I'm so afraid of rejection. I just know that I am. And it is really scary for me.
We're sorry.
I'm trying to muster up all the courage I have to call her, and then I can't get a hold of her. Part of me is relieved because this is really scary to me. I'm not sure I want to get a hold of her because I'm afraid of her reaction.
I've fantasized, I've dreamed that someday I would meet Dustin. Now the awful truth is that he's gonna hate me, and having to face the fact that he could not want to ever see me. I want to be a whole person to do this. Please, get me straight. At least I have to try. Because if I don't, then I'm giving up one more time. Give me strength to do this.
This is basically like an open forum as the extension of what we were talking about race. And I would like to also place myself out there and say that if there is a question that anyone has, please ask me.
It's just about sharing with me, just sharing your experiences and opening up the next person's eyes for them to see that it really goes on and it really occurs, and it's up to the individual to make a change.
This is just a comment. I've had racism towards me, and it was when I was in the first starting over house, because it's not anything new to everyone that I may have had a mixed child or I may have had a white child. My family pretty much was so pissed off at me for the fact that I may be having a baby that's mixed. The color of this child that was gonna be mine someday or maybe not be mine had no influence on if I decided to keep my child or if I didn't keep my child. So I had racism pointed towards me towards that for a lot of things. And it doesn't feel good and it does hurt.
I'm pretty sure that everyone has dealt with some type of racism before in their lives. And for me, it's every day. And like with finding the blind date for you, Sommer, for me, that was a reminder.
I know a lot of it's my fault that it all got brought up.
Okay, so
well, but what I'm
first
saying,
of all,
well, I'm just saying
don't say that is your fault.
I had the issue arise that there was an issue in the first place, I guess. But the deal is, I feel like between you and our talk, aside from the talk we had with Rhonda, then you and I talked, and then Marcus and I talked, and that clarified it even further. You know, so like for me,
you have a better understanding.
Much better, and I know that that's why I say I stereotype. I know I do. I do it all the time.
Well, I just want to say something.
But I'll be more cautious.
I appreciate your honesty, really, and your courage, because a lot of people would not have that courage to be honest with themselves, more or less anyone else, you know, with how you're feeling.
I am definitely applauding Sommer in her honesty.
So I just want to laid it out that I really appreciate everyone's courage in wanting to know and wanting to ask questions.
And we appreciate you for having the courage to sit here and do this.